Hey, this is Mike Herrera. You're listening to Magnified Pod.
This is a yelling podcast. From poking at you to plans and everything in between, this is Magnified Pod, the only podcast that discusses culture, religion, politics, and the entire discography of everyone's favorite left coast punks, MX, PX. And we're back.
Finally.
I'm Andrew.
I'm John.
This is our podcast. John, it has really been a while.
Truly been a while.
It's been a very long time. So, some people probably thought that we were
dead.
Dead.
False.
Giving up. Yeah. How little you know us. You think we would spend an entire year crafting 3-hour episodes about MXPX and then just fade into obscurity?
Never.
You underestimate us.
Mm-hmm.
So our last episode was in June, and today that we're recording is August 1st.
Yep.
So we kind of had a little bit of a summer break.
It's true.
And, it's not that we didn't want to record. Summer gets busy, and we had sort of reached the end of what we'd been doing, and we had talked about a future project with Five Iron that we're going to do, but we weren't really ready to launch into that immediately. So it felt sort of natural to take a little bit of a break.
Yeah. Mike wasn't sliding into our DMs as often these days.
No, Mike's busy. We're not getting all that SpawnCon that we have.
Yeah, we really got to get some spawns for season 2.
Oh man, for real. There's got to be some like ska companies.
Yes.
Like just get nothing but two-tone shoes,
checkered stuff, suspenders,
well, some fedoras.
There's got to be like a ska spenders company that can sponsor us, right? Consider
Yes.
this a crowdsource for advertising ideas. Listeners.
You have been notified.
Yes.
So put out those.
Man, I just noticed your shoes too.
Yeah, I am wearing my two-tone.
Yes.
My two-tone Vans slip-ons. I'm getting into that mood.
I'm into it.
I'm preparing my body for our deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna be a deep dive so much it's gonna be a deep skank.
There you go.
Our skanks are gonna get super deep.
Pick it up.
That's the visual. Just get that visual of someone with a really deep skank.
Hashtag super deep skanks. MagPod season 2.
Yeah. Second season.
That's right.
So we don't really have an ETA on that, but we do have some dope new artwork.
Oh yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It's going to be cool.
I can't wait to share it with everybody. But John, I'm feeling a little parched.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should
I think so.
crack open. I wonder if they still sell Best Life IPAs.
I don't know, man. Check that. Weren't they selling them at like Costco's in the Seattle area?
Yeah, Best Life IPA Silver City. Let's see if those, because I mean, I miss.
Yeah, we haven't cracked one of those. in
Marina
quite a
Market
while.
where I ordered.
There you go.
It says out of stock.
Out of stock. Well,
New York City.
New York City. 350 Brewing.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about in a bit.
Yes.
Did brew a 5 Iron beer when I saw them sponsor a 5 Iron show a few years ago. So perhaps they can bring that back for us.
So specifically, we'll bring it up when we are at 350 in a little later this month.
Yeah.
Because we are going to 350 Fest.
Our buddies.
Tinley Park.
Indeed.
350 Brewing. For the Weekend Invasion.
Yeah. No. Who's going to be there?
Friday, Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, Lucky Boys Confusion, Suicide Machines, Mustard Plug.
Wait, did they move?
I think they moved Mustard Plug. Let me pull up the most updated list.
They moved to the day that we're going to be there, which is Saturday.
Oh, son of a bitch. They switched Mustard Plug and Direct Hit.
That happened in like 2 minutes.
Fuck that. So Direct Hit is no longer playing on Saturday.
Sorry, man.
That's a bummer. They're fucking good.
But it's better for our ska brand.
It is better for our ska brand. So Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, Lucky Boys, Suicide Machines, Direct Hit Friday. Saturday, when John and I will be there, them Boss Tones, bro.
Hey.
The Menzingers, Anthony Ranieri, Zebrahead, Iron Chic, Mustard Plug, Much the Same,
Hey.
Buck 09, and We Are the Union. We Are the Union was a more recent dish. Sunday, Naked Ray Gun, 88 Fingers Louie, The Bullweevils, Lights Over Bridgeport, The Eclectics, Airstream Futures, Tight Night, The Repellent Still Alive.
I don't know a lot of those
I do not
last
know.
ones.
I know the first three.
Yeah. But Saturday's going to be great.
Saturday, we're going to be, I'm going to have to, fasten my shoes to my feet tightly. I don't want to, because I'm going to be skanking them off. So the Boss Tones, We're the Union, Buck 09, Mustard Plug. That's 4 solid ska bands.
I'm feeling ska-optimistic about this lineup.
Yeah.
Schedule.
Yeah. the schedule.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to have to up our ska pun game.
Although we've got a lot of time to workshop that. But we're going to be partying with our dudes in Much the Same.
Yes.
Which, if you haven't listened to our last ep, features our buddy, lead singer Chris McGrath. I can only assume he'll be tearing it up with us for some potting on the fly.
I hope so.
You never know.
You also should know that when we released that episode, their new album was not yet out. But it is out,
it's out now.
Everybody
go listen to it.
I listened to it on the way over here.
Everything is Fine.
Everything is Fine is the name of the record, and
it's pretty good.
That album.
Pretty good album.
Yeah, I still haven't looked to see what reviewers made any sort of this album is anything but fine or much the same.
Yeah, I really hope there's some of this
because that album rules. It still has banger after banger on it.
Indeed.
So go check that out.
Mm-hmm.
And I seem to remember something about beers.
Yeah, let's crack them open. I've been waiting over here. Oh, it sounds so good.
So these are Day Game IPAs by Sketchbook Brewing, Evanston's finest.
Cheers, man. Should we
cheers?
Should we break the news about this being our last in-person cheers for a while here?
It is. So for those of you who are friends with me on the Book of Faces, I announced recently that my wife and I are moving to Minnesota.
What?
Oh my God.
Several people who listen to the pod did say, I thought you would be the one to move to Minnesota first, to me. Because I've talked about a fair amount over the year.
Yes. Yeah. And also, you are from there.
That is correct.
That is where you hail from.
You beat me.
Yeah.
Someday we will relocate to Magpod Studios North permanently.
For sure.
For now,
this is the Magpod Studios West. John's basement has been home to many great memories and times, hours of potting.
Yep.
Many a drunk night, but we're still going to be able to do the pod.
Yeah.
It's just going to be kind of a different sort of vibe. Probably we'll have to, I don't know, maybe have to get some sort of webcam situation.
Yeah,
going.
perhaps.
I don't want to just
sounds newfangled.
Yeah. I'm going to leave this mic here with you, so hopefully you can figure out a way to plug it into some sort of device.
Yeah, we'll figure it out by the next time you all listen to this.
Yep. But also, as I said, I'm going to be back here in a few weeks for the 350 Fest
Indeed.
where we will be partying. I don't know. I'm sure Dickie will want to come hang with us.
I
or something.
assume, yeah. He usually asks about the guest bed we have here in
yeah, Dickie
Magpie
B.
Studios West.
Yeah, old Dickie B. He's like,
never had to stay in your house. I don't know. It's not my best work.
I know someone who has,
and
they said it wasn't very good.
That's better. Yeah.
So can I just say this about the impression that I get? As much as that song was on the radio every 4 seconds, was in literally every late 90s, early 2000s
Movie trailer.
movie.
Yep.
That song still rules.
It's a great song.
It's such a good song. I don't care. There's nothing I feel about the impression that I get in terms of what that song is for ska and 90s ska as I feel about the Proclaimers 500 Miles. That it's just it's like it's a perfect it's a perfect song.
Agreed.
I've been listening to a lot of Boss Tones lately preparing for this 350 Fest and I'm just like, because I just want to really immerse myself in this weekend, and I'm just like, it's still so good.
It's a good song.
And Dickie Barrett was like 33, I think, when that song came out.
That's pretty weird.
And they had already been playing.
They were like elder statesmen. Yeah.
They'd been playing for 8 years and had 4 previous albums, you know? So.
I mean, I remember being in the scene at the time, and a lot of people were like, that song is popular. Like, it's not cool that everybody likes the Boss Tones now, which I get, but also that song is great. So.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
Also, who cares?
Wait, haven't we discussed that? That was the CD, right? Where it was like, you got Teenage Politics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Throwback to our second episode.
Yeah, and you were like, fuck that album.
No, that is not what I said.
Just kidding.
That is not what I said.
It's no Teenage Politics.
So, no, my take was I got Teenage Politics and my other friend got Let's Face It. And I opened up my CD, and it's the green and white swirl MXPX and on the disc, and his has the Skanking Dude on just a white CD. And he was just looking at mine, and was like, "Oh, your CD looks a lot cooler." And
well, full circle.
But let's face it. Yep, well, I guess it's not the skank. Is that
Dickie?
Yeah, it's Dickie.
But in my head too, I had imagined the dancing guy mid skank.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see that guy tearing it up because he's not young.
So no, none of them. They're all in their 50s now.
Yeah, that's hardcore.
Yeah. So what's interesting is speaking of the Boss Tones and ska, I'm gonna save the full stories for the 5 Iron Pod because gotta save my ska stories for that. But I did see the Pick It Up Ska documentary recently, and one of the I learned, I forget who it was that was in the documentary that was from the Boss Tones, but he had said that the reason that guy, so he'd been like hanging with the band, or like maybe he wasn't like in the band, but early on he was always with them. A lot
of shows and stuff.
He's just like going with them, and maybe he was a friend or something. And there was at one point venues were like, you can't come in here unless you're in the band. And they were like, okay, he's in the band. And that's when he just started, he leaned into the whole dancing thing.
I love it.
He's like, okay, if I'm in the band, I got to do something. So
I think that's how we're going to get into Fire Iron for season 2. Just be their on stage dancers. Reese,
just
let us know.
Yeah, Reese, if you need, if I think if there's anything that people think about ska bands is that there needs some more people on stage.
Yeah, for sure.
Just
Some more middle-aged white guys.
Can we get some more tall white dudes on stage? That'd be great for us.
I guess they do enough dancing already in that band.
Yeah, I mean, you got you're dancing with your horns or something, you know.
Well, if you want to hear more about the Pick It Up Ska documentary before we talk about it in a future ep, you can go back and listen to our Jason Hockney's IMED episode.
It's true.
The producer on the film.
Yes. And we hope to get him back on the pod.
Get him back. Get him back in the pod.
Yes. But, before we get too far from it, I didn't even really say why I'm moving to Minnesota.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So, I've loved Minnesota for a while. I have.
Sorry.
I've loved Minnesota for a while, and I have good friends up there. We have mutual friends who live in the Twin Cities, and whenever we'd go up to visit them, I'm like, man, it's
a good spot.
It reminds me of a lot of the parts of Chicago and Evanston where I live, but like on a smaller, more manageable scale.
Yes.
Twin Cities it's a major city, Minneapolis and St. Paul, but it's not as populous, it's not as populated, and it's not as dirty and loud.
Yep.
And of course, like downtown Chicago is amazing, and they've done a lot to beautify the river and the Riverwalk and other parts of the city. But I don't know, it's one of the reasons I like living in Evanston is that I'm city adjacent.
Right.
I'm not a like big city person. I don't want to be in the middle of a city. So a couple years ago, my brother and his family moved to Minneapolis, followed by my parents because they wanted to be near their grandchildren. And I feel like totally legit reason.
Yeah.
And
they were like, hey, the state, it's pretty great.
Yeah, my parents made some good friends and found a church that they really enjoy. And they're really enjoying everything that Minnesota has to offer right now.
Yay.
And Dana has known my desire to move north for a while. And, and I guess her feeling was, unless there was like a reason
Sure.
to do it, that we're not going to just pack up our life just for the hell of it. We want there to be a good reason, and we've lived in Evanston since we got married and been in the same building for the past 13 years.
It's a long time.
So it is a very long time. And so Dana has had kind of a rough number of years career-wise, and the end of this year of her job, of this school year, was particularly rough. And so she thought, what the hell? Why don't I just throw some applications, throw my resume up there and see if anybody bites. And she got an interview, and they were only interviewing for like maybe one or two people for a certain position. And they liked her and they offered her the job, and this was on July 2nd.
Okay.
And so she took a day to think about it, to talk to me. On July 3rd, she accepted the job. And then by, I think, the end of that week, that Sunday, we had already signed
It's
a
crazy.
lease for a new apartment in Minneapolis. So it's all moved really, really
Yeah.
fast.
And I think 2 days after that, you called me from a karaoke bar,
That's
post
true.
500 miles
Yeah.
to break the news to me.
Yeah, I was at a karaoke bar, and I'd been trying to talk to you and like try and find a good time too.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to just like text you or something, but like
Moving, bro.
peace out,
Peace.
bitch. It's been a good time. So yeah, I'd been drinking lots of sparkling wine on ice and singing karaoke.
Sounds like a great life.
and then I was like telling you this, like, yeah, we're gonna make the pod work. And sorry, hold it, it's my song, I gotta go.
Yeah, it was something great. I can't remember what, but something I felt proud of you for.
Yeah, let me I'm gonna look that up.
I was going to do that, but it was like, oh, you gotta scroll back for a while.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
it is the next phase in your life, in the life of the pod.
yeah.
It's going to be good.
It is. Let me see.
I hope Dana likes her job.
Me too. She really needs this. She really needs a win.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. Sorry to cut out so quick. Had to sing "What's Up" by Four Non Blondes.
Yes. Solid choice. I mean, it's a bold choice because you
It's
got to
one-
do a lot of
it's
vocal
one
acrobatics.
It's my standards. It's one of my standards. That and 500 Miles are
Ugh.
my two of my standards.
So great.
So, and I'm also going out singing karaoke tomorrow night.
Oh, man.
So,
What a life.
got to bust out those standees.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Speaking of Minnesota and beer, which you
Yes.
were a while ago.
Yep.
A friend of the pod, Eric, my buddy, aka the lead singer of Tiger Jack, my band.
Yes.
He is a home brewer in his spare time, and he brewed us a magnified hops beer,
Oh, snap.
and we have some here. Hey, is that the dulcet tones of Tiger Jack I hear? Bass, 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 bass.
So what do we got
bass,
here?
Octave, octave, octave.
So tell us about magnified hops.
Well, he's going to explain in detail the symbolic nature of the hops he chose and
Okay.
his journey to brewing it for us. But anyway, we've got some of it here now. We bottled it when I was in Minnesota a couple weeks ago. It's not quite ready to drink, but next time we pod, we'll have to be getting drunk on it
Yes.
independently, but together discussing it. So anyway, shout out to Eric. I think he's going to explain for us later more about it. But
Can't wait. Yeah, because I don't want to consume this without
yeah,
having
it's got to be together.
the full story. And
Yeah.
and I don't know, maybe we can consume some. Here's what I'm wondering. Maybe we can drink them when I come
I'll
back
save it for when you come
for
back.
350,
That's a good idea.
and then that way I don't need to travel with
Fair.
4 loose bottles.
I was realizing I should have just left him up in Minnesota for you, and you could have come to Eric's house and met him or whatever.
That's
Um,
true.
Anyway, how
Anyway.
else have you spent your summer vacation?
Well, on a previous ep, I had mentioned that I was going to see Ben Queller.
Indeed,
Saw him at Space
little
in
venue.
Evanston. It's a tiny ass venue. It was an unbelievable show.
Cool.
I'd never seen him before. For those who aren't familiar with Ben Queller, he's been playing music in some form or another since he was 12 years old. He was, before he went and kind of broke out as a solo act, he was in a band called Radish.
That's right. You talked about this before.
And but he's just such a prolific songwriter. His early stuff is reminiscent of, late 90s kind of alternative. It kind of has some Weezery vibes to it.
Like those vibes.
Yeah, I'm into those vibes. And as his career has gone on, he's tried a bunch of different stuff out.
Ben Squaller, where he did some ska albums. That wasn't a squat.
You know, so his first album, Sha Sha, he
Ska
did
Ska.
ska versions of it. Called
Right. Ska. Perfect.
Um,
This is gonna be like, just get ready for this,
Yeah, everybody-
listeners.
everybody prepare yourselves. Everything that can't be ska'd will be ska'd.
It's our new tagline.
But anyway, I came away from the show feeling like he was like the most unpretentious rock star musician that I had ever seen. He didn't strike me as being pretentious or arrogant or he I felt like he was enjoying himself
Cool.
up there just as much as he probably did and enjoy himself in the earlier days. So, you know, normally bands play, they have their set lists, whatever, and they don't want any feedback or whatever. But there was a point in the show, he's like, all right, guys, what do you want to hear?
That's cool.
People started shouting out.
Ska.
And he's like, okay, all right. He's like, oh, that's a good one. And then there was a point where somebody shouted out the song in other words,
Okay.
and they looked at each other. He's like, looked at his guitar player, and he's like, oh, he's like, we could do that one. He's like, what's your name? What's your name, dude? Chris. All right, cool, Chris. This is in other words for you, man.
Oh,
And I was like, man, that's really cool.
That's cool.
You know, like he wants to play the songs that people are there to hear, you know? He wants to make the show about them. And he did play a bunch of old jams from his first record, and he did play 2 new songs. It sounds like his new record's probably going to be have some, at least have one big, like, gigantic pop song,
Cool.
like pop hit. But I feel like some of his newer songs are like a Petty or something.
yeah.
So
Cool.
yeah,
I'm glad it was good.
yep, into that. So you were just up in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I saw you posting mad pictures on a boat.
It's true. We were about that lake life. It's a good life, man.
It is a great life, man.
It's gonna be a good life for you soon.
Next time you come visit, we'll pod on
Oh,
pod on the
man,
boat,
I cannot wait to pod
pod on the lake.
on a lake, on a boat.
There is a lake near me.
Yep.
I don't know exactly how to pronounce the name of this lake. Do you know how to pronounce it?
Bide Makaska, I believe.
Okay. So it is...
You heard that last word right, folks.
Yep. Bide-Makaska. It is a lake, the closest lake, just not too many blocks from my new place.
It was known as Lake Calhoun,
It was Lake Calhoun,
until
yeah.
recently. They went back to the original First Nation name for it. But Lake Calhoun, incorrect.
Lake Calhoun.
Lake Calhoun, partly made famous by Prince, had some songs about hanging out over there. It's near Uptown. It's a good lake.
Yeah.
So we got lakes covered. What I did not spend my summer doing was going to Audio Feed Festival,
Yes.
which we haven't talked about yet.
If we were both in the state,
Yeah,
we
we should have
gone, but
made
that
it
was
happen.
over the 4th
Yeah,
weekend, or 4th of July week, and I was up in Minneapolis, and you were here, right?
but I wasn't gonna go without you.
No.
So we didn't hear. Neither of us knew anything about this, but apparently it's been going for a while. But it's kind of like the
For
new.
how long?
I'd say for a while. It's been a while. They began in 2013, and I don't know how this hasn't been on our radar. But
don't
it's
know.
like the new Cornerstone, which we've covered Cornerstone Festival extensively on the pod.
Yeah.
The little blurb on their site says, they began in an effort to keep the core family of the Cornerstone Festival of the past alive. Audio Feed is not Cornerstone, but it's the same family and similar spirit. So
So So Cornerstone.
So Cornerstone, I think it's much smaller. I don't know. It's still downstate Illinois.
And fewer bands that I've heard of.
Yes, which makes sense. But you got your Squad 5-0. You got your Flatfoot 56,
You got your
friends of the
Flatfoot.
pod, sort of. Oh Sleeper, I feel like I've heard of that.
Yeah, Oh Sleeper is they were a former Solid State band. I'm not sure if they're still Solid
Okay.
State.
Yeah, that sounds
But
familiar.
but Shane, I think, is so he. This is my connection to him.
Okay.
He started this band, Woven War,
Okay.
with the
Cool name.
members of As I Lay Dying after Tim Lambesis went to prison.
Got it.
And so they put out 2 albums. I mean, now the Oh Sleeper's back together and
Mm-hmm.
As I Lay Dying is back together.
What? Whether Woven War.
What happened?
But
anyway.
Yeah, we'll find out on Woven Pod. I don't know. But anyway, if you know about Audio Feed Festival and have any experience with it, let us know.
Hey, do you know who does have
I was just going to say,
familiarity?
most importantly, we found out about the band
Okay.
Exegesis.
No, here's the thing. I was looking through this list, and I saw the name Exegesis, and I said, for the record, I'm like, if this is not a metal band, they're blowing it, and I would be disappointed. And I Googled Exegesis band, and their band photo looks
It's just what you would hope.
It looks like a parody of what like a black metal
It
band.
looks like on like Arrested Development or something when it cuts away to like, that's when I was in Exegesis or whatever, and they would show like Job as the middle one.
Yes.
They are from Chicago, so hashtag get them on the pod.
Yes.
Yeah, let's hear a little Exegesis. Ooh, that looks like Chicago.
Playing in the snow.
Hell yeah. These guys have makeup on. Their hair is long. They have a wallet chain. They're playing under a pergola. Ooh. Whoa. This is not English. That's cool. All right.
Is this a
Latinx.
Latinx?
Christian metal band.
Oh man,
Well, can't wait to get
there's
them on the
so
pod.
much. There's so much to love about that. Oh, they're from Colombia.
Hey.
They're originally from Colombia,
Wow, now they live here.
and I did not read like that second sentence.
Yes, I was not expecting Spanish to come out of that guy's face.
No. Me neither.
Ooh.
Shit. Oh fuck. Let's go. Open up that
Yes, that rules.
into this.
Wake me up from the dead.
Okay. Exegesis, hit us up. We are
Hit
your new
us up.
fans.
Yes.
Looking for shows. I'm not seeing any, but
That.
gotta
man.
find out more about them.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, these album covers are dope. Look
yeah,
at that.
man.
We
Which-
got some.
Insurrection.
Yeah, that's what I was just showing you. It's like a dude with a guitar fighting off some monsters in suits.
And it's got like
Dystopic cop overlords.
it sort of reminds me of like an Iron Maiden-y kind of
Yeah.
thing going on.
Into it. Anyway,
So this is our Exegesis podcast.
Pods of Jesus. Exit pod.
Oh, we'll workshop it.
Yep.
So
God Jesus.
yeah, we will be the cover band of Exegesis where we turn this song into a Wake me up, pick me up, pick me up.
It's an obvious transition.
We'll make their song "Wake Me Up" to "Pick Me Up."
Oh man, we're nailing it.
Yeah. Hey, should we talk about MXPX?
Oh yeah, I remember those guys.
So You know what? Actually, should we cover some voicemails? Because we do have, let's actually do the voicemails about our Chris McGrath episode.
Let's do it.
Because we did get some voicemails, and we haven't been able to cover them for a while.
Yeah.
And I didn't want these gems of voicemails to go to waste.
Yes.
So if you listen to that podcast, you will remember that.
Sorry, I had to show this to you. I'm still looking at the Exegesis Instagram page.
So this was a week ago. The drummer is wearing an Andrew WK shirt, so I guess I think I'm contractually obligated to love them for
yes,
life.
I think you're friends with them now.
I'm friends with him now. I'm a huge WK fan.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Chris McGrath, much the same lead singer.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking fantasy novels. He's a fantasy fan.
Yep.
He is not a Tolkien fan.
Yeah, controversies.
It was a huge controversy. He was kind of shitting on The Hobbit.
Yeah, he was.
And he brought up some other authors that he did like, particularly this author named Brian Sanderson.
Right.
And I'm not familiar with.
Sorry, all I could think is Brian Sconders. I need to knock it off.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll figure out other. Now I'm trying to think of like Tolkien.
Scobbit, come on, dude. I'm just like picturing Bilbo with like the checkered shoes running through a cave.
Perfect.
Gollum's got some suspenders on.
Legelskas.
There you go.
He's not. Isn't he not as? If I'm not, I haven't.
He's not in the book. The Hobbit.
He's not in the. He's not in the
They
book.
wedged him into one of those 9-hour movies, but
Yeah. Anyway, so our buddy Nick Polk, Tolkien, Nicky P,
Tolkien scholar.
Tolkien scholar
He's got
fan.
a tattoo, I believe.
Our boy Nichols.
Yeah.
He was not
Outraged.
He was not happy. I warned him before this episode. I was just giving him a heads up. It was like, just so you know.
This is gonna rock your world.
And he left a voicemail.
He has some thoughts.
And he's
Oh, bro. Your boy is pissed. Royally pissed. We got Chris McGrath shitting on my boy J.R. Tolkien because he likes Brian Sanderson. Get that shit out of here. That is some weak ass shit right there, dude. You're gonna come in here. You're not gonna mention Ursula K. Le Guin. You're not even gonna mention Marlon James. You know, you're gonna bring up freaking that World of Warcraft Diablo bullshit. Fucking Brian Sanderson, Oathbringer, Mickey Mouse garbage. Avatar has better writing than that shit. Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's what I'm saying. That has better writing than that shit. Fucking Blizzard's World of Warcraft has better writing than that bullshit. And you're gonna come out and say that The Hobbit is unbearable? No. Oh, hell no, bro. Chris McGrath, you're punk. I haven't even finished the episode. You seem like a nice guy. But get that Brian Sanders shit out of here. Get that shit out of here. Oh, your boy's flaming, dude. I'm freaking fuming. Oh, shit. Anyway, miss you guys. And I'll probably call back with another voicemail if there's more hot takes like this. But many smooches and magnified pod for life. Peace.
Thanks, buddy. Sorry to put you through that.
Yeah. I knew our boy Nichols would not be happy about that.
It's a hot take.
I mean, I didn't realize that someone could be this upset about Brian Sanderson, but
Ryan Sanderson. This mother.
this son of a bitch. Like it goes to show you that there are people who, like, when it comes to fandom, there's no telling what people will like go to bat for, die on a hill for, and like, I guess someone shitting on Tolkien or The Hobbit, and to be fair, like, I don't think he was maybe disparaging the name of Tolkien. I think he was saying essentially that The Hobbit felt like a children's book, which in effect it is.
Yes.
So, I mean, that'd be like, in a way, it's sort of like comparing Harry Potter's Sorcerer's Stone with the Deathly Hallows.
Yeah.
It's not the same. The series grew, and I imagine that probably could be said for a lot of other Tolkien's works.
I believe so.
Danny Stairs has some Lord of the Rings thoughts too.
Hey, what's up, guys? Your boy Danny Stairs reporting in. First call for this episode, probably first of many if I know myself. I just want to say I could forgive this guy's lack of love for Lord of the Rings. I really could. It sounds like he mostly read The Hobbit, which is really the worst book in the series. I agree with a lot of his criticism. It's not my favorite read. I believe I started with Lord of the Rings and then went back to The Hobbit, actually. In any event, I could forgive that. In fact, I forgive most people not liking anything literary. It's just like music, you do what's you. However, the fact that he would ever change his band name after he had that gem, Trouser Mouth, how could you ever drop that name? That's an unforgivable for me. All right, Magpie for life.
Fair take.
Yes.
Trouser Mouse, I really feel like they would have skyrocketed to the top of the charts with that name. I mean, the fact that a dude whose iTunes review handle is in Elvish
That's true.
is giving him a pass on not liking Lord of the Rings. I don't know. I thought he'd come in with a little more heat.
Yeah, but knowing Danny Stairs, he is truly a very, very gracious person. Like he said, he could forgive most people for anything for not
fair enough.
He doesn't really care because also he doesn't like music either. So,
right.
But before we get into some of these next voicemails, which are from our boy Danny Leary, let's talk MXPX's cover of NoFX's song "Franco Un-American."
Hey. That was a surprise.
It was a surprise
when it came out like a month and a half ago now.
Yeah, but I was feeling it. I was into it.
Feeling this.
Yes, Tom DeLonge, and he came in. He's like, "This is a stupid joke." Anyway, so Franco Un-American, and I was like, how are they going to do the song? Are they going to? How many of the lyrics are they going to change?
A lot of them.
But so the original Franco Un-American was on the War on Errorism.
Right.
By, let's see, that was 2003. So it was
a staple of my college years.
Yeah. In the I actually covered that the song when I was on Martha's Vineyard.
Oh, cool!
At that my music program.
Right on. Is there audio documentation of that somewhere?
There is not.
Oh,
I wish there was. It was 16-year-old song, different kind of situation politically now.
Swapped out W on the cover for Moscow Mitch McConnell.
Yes. It's a horrifying likeness.
The song is for sure one of my favorites from that record, though, and like one of my favorite NoFX songs of recent. Well, it's not recent anymore, but the later stages of NoFX that I was paying attention to. So
Sure.
I was psyched.
Sure.
About it.
But they also famously played it on Conan.
Right. We've talked about this.
Yes, we have. Before MXPX even covered this.
Right.
So let's hear some of the song that we can discuss.
I never thought about the universe, it made me feel small. Never thought about the problems of this planet at all. Global warming, radioactive sites, billionaire cons,
Hey.
and reproductive rights. No!
Horns.
Into the horns.
But think of all the bad things when life is so good. Why help with an am when there's always a could? Let your breeze worry about the levees breaking free. Outside of Puerto Rico, we're doing fine, you see. I don't want changes, I have no reactions. Your dilemmas are my distractions. That's no way to go, Franco, un-American. No way to go, Franco, un-American. No way to go, Franco, un-American. No way to go, Franco, un-American.
Into Tom shouting instead of the clean harmonies of NoFX.
Super into Tom.
Nowhere to go. Into the horns, as discussed, instead of the
Very
keys.
much into the horns. I love Tom's background vocals anytime
Yeah.
they cut through.
Yep.
So
We are on record.
on record.
We stand a legend.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the changes to the lyrics.
Yeah.
So
Reproductive rights
Yep.
coming in right in that first verse.
billionaire cons.
Hey.
So the original lyrics had let the whales worry about the poisons in the sea. Outside of California, it's foreign policy. As opposed to the levees breaking free.
Let Drew Brees worry about the levees breaking free.
Do you understand that?
He plays for the Saints, New Orleans.
Oh.
It's kind of a weird line, but more power to you.
You want to read some of the lyrics for the second verse, and we can compare to.
What did I like? Is this the one that has Joe Rogan in it?
Yeah,
because I
that's-
wasn't into that part.
That's the one line in the song where he's listening to Joe Rogan like there's going to be a test.
Yeah, but okay. Never looked around, never second guessed. And I read the YouTube comments. Now I'm always depressed. I like that change.
Yeah.
This is the best part. And now I can't sleep from years of apathy, all because I saw kids in cages on TV.
Yep.
That's kind of, ooh, when I heard that one, I was like, ooh,
Yep.
okay, good job, Mike.
Yes. But he did leave in, he did throw, because Fat Mike says, I'm eating vegetation because of fast food nation.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that he's even eating avocados because of vegan nation.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah.
Like
So,
that.
I know that Mike is hardly a vegan,
Yeah.
but I still appreciate that he's
Shouting
a
out.
little bit of a nod to the original.
Yep.
But I do appreciate that he's listening to Anti-Flag. I love that shout out, and I saw
Pretty
that
good.
there was a little interaction between Mike and Chris number 2 from
yeah, I think I
Anti-Flag
did see that.
on Twitter.
Right on.
So the best part, one of the best parts of the song, I think, goes to the end,
Yeah.
where the original lyrics say, I want to move north and be Canadian, or hang down low with the nice Australians. And Mike's lyrics, if you can read those.
I want to go east and eat with Japanese again, or climb the wall and hang out with the Mexicans.
Yep,
Into that.
I am too. So Danny Leary has some thoughts on the song, and I think he nails some points here. And there'll be some other things to discuss, but let's see what he has to say.
So, guys, Danny, MXPX Memes, host of Sadie Hawkins Pod,
Hey.
Colin. And I'm calling you the morning after MXPX had released their NoFX cover. And come on, what's going on here on the cover 3? I think they're piecing it together
Could be.
bit by bit. I think this is proof that they're not only listening to the podcast, but they're stealing my ideas by proxy through your podcast. I mean,
Yep.
come on. They have 4 covers of contemporaneous bands now, like ready to go, ready to be put, take the Mike Solo song of Millencolin and put it in there and just pretend it's MXPX, is labeled as MXPX. They're like a quarter of the way there. But I had some other observations about this song, because particularly on the Hokanacha podcast, Mark and Rich, they like way more closely monitor what the guys are doing through their Instagram, and they noticed how they had been in the studio like a week ago. So then on that podcast, they recorded like, what are they doing in the studio? Are they already making a new album? Are they making a new EP? And Rich was like, oh, maybe they're just working on album 11 already. And it was Mark who said, no, I bet you they're working on the cover 3. And I mean, not officially, but come on, they're stealing it. They're stealing my idea. I can tell.
Welcome to our
I
world.
was not I don't pay as much close of attention to notice like, hey, they're in the studio. Look at this on Instagram, but they were, and this is what the song was. So, I mean, anyway. Sadie Hawkins Pod, twitter.com/Sadie Hawkins Pod.
Good job, Danny.
All right, buddy.
Slow your roll.
Yeah, we will gladly. You don't need to plug your podcast. We can plug it for you.
Yeah, man.
Because we are going to do a collab
We gotta do it.
with Danny and his wife Jessica,
Yep.
who they have very graciously, I sort of pronounced that word right, graciously shouted out Magnified Pod on their
Hey.
podcast, and that we are going to do an episode about the Reliant K song, Five Iron Frenzies, Either Dead or Dying.
Can't wait.
So whenever that comes up, but what do you think? On the cover 3, or just having some fun in the studio?
I don't know. I mean, I can't remember. I think when we talked about on the cover 2, it wasn't like piecemeal, right? Like they went in with the plan to record an album.
Well, I think it was like a tooth and nail contractual thing.
That's right. So just based on how the first 2 went, I guess I wouldn't expect it to happen, but it could happen.
I mean, I'll say this, like, I'm happy with the covers that they've been doing.
For sure.
Like the, No Cigar, Franco on
Yeah.
American,
These are good songs from my youth.
San Dimas High School Football Rules. I mean that version rules.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't. I mean, I'm not clamoring for an on the cover 3.
No, but I remember we talked about this when we covered on the cover 2, covered on the cover, that we were both kind of like, this is, like, for me at least, it was not one that I was particularly jazzed about. But then we listened to it, and I was super into it, and now I love a lot of those songs. So I would welcome an on the cover 3.
I mean,
I legit listen to this on the reg now. It fucking rules. Oh man,
rules.
MXPX covering Poison for an entire album would be fine too. Let's get it rocked.
Still waiting for some Def Leppard.
Yeah, it needs to happen.
If they do a Def Leppard song,
Would
we will
roll.
have to bring back Def Leppard 2.0.
For sure. Oh man,
I think we should do another throwback
I like it.
pod.
I support
Like, I
that.
think you need to choose another.
Well, we've had so many potential ideas. Pod FR,
Pod
our
FR.
PFR Pray for Rain episode.
Yeah, pod. Yeah.
What else have we? There's been so many. We should comb through those archives.
Yeah.
Who's going to create our Wikipedia to keep track of all of our nonsense?
Yeah, to keep track of all of our throwaway jokes.
I would do some of those.
Yeah. Okay, so Danny Leary, after he's done plugging his podcast, he makes another very good point.
So anyway, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, probably my favorite change lyric. I mean, there's so many interesting change lyrics in this cover, but one of my favorite ones is when he changes up the "gonna move north to Canada, gonna go down and live with the Australians." Mike Herrera changes that to "gonna move to Japan, gonna move to Mexico," and it made me realize in the original song that Mike is basically like, "Hey, I hate America because of George Bush, so I'm going to move to one of the other predominantly white countries that
Interesting.
is on land taken from indigenous people." Whereas Mike Herrera is like, "Hey, I'm going to go to Mexico. I'm going to go to Japan. I'm not going to fit in or anything, but I'm going to do my best." And it just kind of noted, and can you believe this? That a NoFX song would have some hypocrisy in it, and that Mike changing the lyrics kind of points that out. Wow. Anyway, Sadie Hawkins Fun.
Danny coming in with the people's history,
That's right.
dropping some knowledge.
Yeah, man. What do you think about that? The first time I was like, man, that is a.
Yeah, it's a good point. I like it.
I feel like I should have
Picked up on that.
made that connection, but I didn't. So
I mean, Mike mentioned that there is a song about ice on the most
Yeah.
recent album,
there is.
and we discussed, well, how explicit is it? I mean, he's pretty explicit in this one.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's almost like, I think we've talked about this before too, but like, it almost makes me wistful to be like, oh, remember when we were so worked up about George Bush? Like,
Yeah. I mean,
things are so much worse.
Yeah. I mean, lest we forget that we are still engaged in endless wars that he started,
Yeah. No, I mean,
and
not a
the
good dude.
This destabilization of the Middle East
Yep.
is entirely
Totally.
hinged on the Iraq war. And anyway, he sucks, but at least you could count on him to not say horrifically racist bullshit like every day. And at least, I saw an interview with, I think W was on Kimmel, and he and Kimmel asked him something about Trump and watching TV, and if W ever, it's like, no, I never watched TV, didn't have time
Right.
to
right.
watch TV.
Yeah.
Like, of course not. Of course, Obama was professorial, and W was more like a man of the people in a sense that he's just like, he's not very well spoken, but
Sure.
he's not
He's a human person,
he's not an idiot.
unlike this,
Yeah, and
whatever we have now.
this, sack of, soggy
Hair
pork
clippings
chops.
and, yeah,
Just,
gross, crumpled up
yeah,
paper towels.
that you can, toss to the Puerto Ricans. Hey, you want some paper
Oh my
towels?
gosh.
Remember that, Jim?
Yeah.
Hey, you just had your, all of your homes destroyed. Let me just throw some
jeez.
brownie at you.
Ugh.
The
Anyway.
fucking worst. So,
Conclusion.
Anyway, conclusion. Everything is still terrible.
Yep.
Have you been watching the debates? Speaking of politics, schpolitics?
Yeah. I think we've talked about this, but I can't do it for too long at a time because it makes me anxious and like pace around and
So did you watch Bernie and Warren tag team all the moderates on the stage?
what's his name? The dude who looks like
Delaney?
yes, the guy from King of the Hill. That's who I always think of, that cartoon.
Oh my
That
gosh.
guy needs to
I-
peace out.
Yeah, I loved how they both called out, like, Warren and Bernie were like, you guys, these are Republican talking points
Right.
that you're using. This is, and everything that CNN framed, like they've all framed the questions to attack Warren and Bernie because they're the clear difference between all of the mainstream moderate Democrats. And so they're like, oh, how? What do you think about their radical plans? And they're just like, come on, guys. So I took exception with all the framing, and also they're like, okay, so here's this complicated policy. You have 30 seconds and then 15 seconds to respond.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
guys,
It's all just whatever.
it's bananas.
Yeah.
I can't wait till it's down to like 5 people
Yeah.
rather than 20 some people, and it's just pandemonium.
Yeah. I prefer to watch highlights the next day.
Right.
And that's my thoughts on the debates.
I know you got some more thoughts.
Go Warren. That's
Go
all
Warren.
I'll say.
Yeah. I forget who it was when I think Tapper asked one of the, I don't know if it was Delaney or somebody, and he's like, you made this many millions and you'd be affected by Warren's policy of taxing.
Right.
And she just looked absolutely gleeful. It was like one of my favorite moments.
She was one of your many photo buddies of 2019.
That's true. Yes, I'm hoping to see her again when she clinches that nom.
Yeah. Yeah, we're talking photos with Elizabeth Warren, MXPX, and
Yep.
Michael W. Smith and the Newsboys. The big 3.
Yep, the big 3. Everybody knows when you say the big 3. Obviously,
Right. We're talking Warren,
H-bomb,
MXPX.
talking
Oh,
Smitty,
man. What a weird
talking
world.
Liz.
I wonder if Elizabeth Warren likes ska. What do you think?
She's definitely a Boss Tones fan.
I
next
mean-
next time I see her, I'm gonna ask her about the Boss Tones.
She's like, when the impression that I get came out.
Let me tell you about the impression that I get from this president.
There you go. Oh, man. Dickie Barrett, you heard it here first.
Yep.
Feel free to use that line.
Trump better knock on wood that he.
Keep going.
I don't have a very good Elizabeth Warren.
This administration needs to pick it up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move along.
Elizabeth Warren. She's a fake fan. I've always said the Boss Tones were the original third wave ska band.
She's a Disney ska fan.
She loves the Interrupters.
What did Andy Ridiculous say?
Yeah, that
Disney
the
ska?
Interrupters were like Disney ska, like, which is false.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, man, ska.
Ska. Oh yeah, ska.
What else is going on?
What else is going on?
This is going to be a half an hour pod. Over an hour per use.
No, I wanted to take this time to
Yeah, it's a special time.
sort of like have this be a kind of a transitional ep,
Yeah.
because this is going to be probably, we'll still, if there's MXPX news, we'll talk about MXPX news.
Indeed.
But, it's time for us to kind of move on. I wanted to
Pay our respects.
take our time to, and not just like end and just like start into the next thing without kind of giving this the time to, reflect on it. And
Yeah. We're going to send season 1 out onto the water and start it on fire
shoot a flaming
Yes.
arrow at
and
it,
send it out
give it a
into
Viking funeral,
the next world.
or we could give it a kind of a Lord of the Rings send off, and
Sail on to
send this podcast with the elves into
yeah.
whatever. I'm not the
Yeah,
I don't know.
Goes to Elvish
Nikki
worlds.
Nikki P. Where
let
do
us
they
know. Where does Frodo go?
where do they go on that boat? I don't know. He's probably shouting.
Sons of bitches.
He's like, oh guys, oh bros, I'm flaming right now, fuming.
Okay, is that it for voicemails? Hey, beers.
Do you like? This is me
Oh man,
taking the beer out of the bag.
is that anybody's ASMR preference? Like crumpling
Crumpled,
paper bags?
probably.
I feel like it goes against the nice soft vibes ASMR.
Well,
Brand.
people eat carrots.
Oh really?
And
Okay,
chew
well,
food,
what do I know? I guess
which
it's all
is-
kinds of things.
which is like the biggest.
Yeah, that sounds yucky.
Horrible.
Who would chew into a mic and make people listen to it? That sounds disgusting. We don't have any candy. I just realized that.
Oh,
I got
that's
some upstairs. I should go grab some.
What is it? What do you got?
I mean, just whatever my kid has.
Just fucking take.
Taking
This-
candy from.
This is. Look, Elliot. Look at me. This is my candy now.
This is mine, not yours.
So let's kind of talk about what this next season might look like.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna be looking at a lot of changes. So obviously, we're gonna be going through 5-iron, but also we're gonna be looking at some of the 5-iron side projects from the different members. Get some new segments going. Get some new intros going. Get some new interviews. Maybe have some familiar people on. Maybe get some new people on. So tell us what you would like to see
Yeah.
from the upcoming second season, and we'll try and work that in, because I imagine we're going to be getting some new listeners, because this is ska fans, especially 5-iron fans, are a different breed,
That's true.
and yeah, there are some crossover fans between MXPX and 5-iron, but I don't think every 5-iron fan is automatically an MXPX fan, and vice versa.
Sure.
So I'm interested to see what sort of interactions
Yeah, definitely.
we get, and the sense of humor is sort of, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. If you're a 5-iron fan and you haven't yet joined the I Hate 5-Iron Frenzy Facebook group, do yourself a favor
Yeah,
and check out what's going on over there.
yeah, it's weird. It's mostly absurd memes.
Yeah. Somehow
and-
disparaging Reese or 5-iron each time.
Yeah, there's almost always some sort of a mayonnaise reference. But
I mean, yeah, I can only assume that in this next season, things are totally going to change. We're going to be, just stay on message the whole time and like very clean and crisp. And no,
nice
If you-
30 minute episode.
Yeah. if you like the Magpod vibe, that is not changing.
That's
So
definitely not
Even
changing.
if 5-iron's not your favorite band, I suggest you stick around and see what it's like.
Yep. We're gonna be we're not changing.
That's right.
Some of the format stuff might, but
Our geography might be,
yes, the geography,
but our hearts, bro, those
No.
aren't changing.
no, bro. And yeah, I'm hoping that we can hang out with 5-iron at some point and get a little face to face with them, and not
Face to face is coming on the pod.
stealing the face to face, destroying the MXPX's van. Gotta
Yeah.
So should we?
Should we close out an exegesis? I think it's the only way to wrap things up.
That kind of
Our
rules.
natural conclusion. Exegesis.
So, if you have some thoughts,
Yeah.
or you want to connect with us, John, what do you think? How can people find us?
Well, we may have been a little dormant there lately, but you can definitely follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can rate and review us. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can send us an email, magnifiedpod@gmail.com.
That's right.
What else?
You can give us a call. Leave us a voicemail at 872-762-4763, 872-7-MAG-POD.
You can support us as we begin this next leg of the journey. Perhaps we'll come up with some new interesting bonus materials, exciting new ways to participate over on our Patreon, patreon.com/magnifiedpod. Thank you, patrons, for sticking with us as we abandon MXPX entirely. Just kidding. Buy our merch. We got some merch.
We do.
Where can they do that?
Is
magnifiedpod.storeenvy.com.
that a rhetorical question?
I don't know. Just thought I'd swing one your way.
No, I'm the voicemail guy.
That's true. Well, I don't know, man. It's been quite a journey.
It has been.
It's sad. It's exciting.
It is.
All the things.
I mean, this is our 41st episode.
It's like as old as the guys in MXPX.
Oof. I know. Just near death.
Actually, they're older than that, right?
Yeah, they are.
Anyway.
43?
Sure, yeah, that sounds right.
19,
See, his social security number is 472.
yeah, 73921.
Yeah, we've done a lot of episodes.
Yes. So we appreciate everybody who has listened to us fully or in part.
Yes, indeed.
And people who've hung out with us on Instagram or given us a call. This sounds like we're breaking up with people. We're just
we'll drive by your house sometimes and see if you're around.
I'm just gonna hold up a boombox playing some Peter Gabriel.
If we accidentally like one of your photos from like a year ago, like don't worry about that.
Isn't that sort of like always one of your fears that you accidentally, like your thumb slips?
Yeah. Like, oh shit!
And some girl that you were like friends with in like high school, like you like
Magnified Pod like this?
Yeah, if Magnified Pod likes it, it's just me creeping on your account.
Oh man. Well, it was a real party at our house doing season 1.
That's true.
And it wouldn't have been the same without all of you. So join us next time when the second season comes around. Perfect.
No, I feel like